talking about the moments of you being let go by WWE, you take onus for a lot of those moments and the things that you were doing and, where you were at in your life at that point. But this time around, being released from NXT, given the role that you were in, the many different hats that you were wearing there, how did you feel about that one? Like, I can't imagine that you feel that one is one that you should be taking ownership for.
I was expecting it, to be honest.
You were?
Yes.
Yeah.
How can I say this? It makes perfect business sense as well.
Okay.
First of all, and everybody there knows this, and this is one of the reasons I was asked to start with. That's why Paul asked me, because we have there's a difference between whatever people think or they don't know about myself and Triple H. He's no different than Brian, I've never really done anything for John apart from just liking him and being around him and being fortunate enough to be in the same place for him for a year, doing a great storyline, and with again a few car rides. But whatever, he might have a different version of that, but we've been around each other and we get on. I met him. He came. Hadn't had many matches. Came to WWE. Was only a year younger than me, and I said, "Do you want to come travel with me? Let's go and train together at the power."
You're talking about Hunter.
Yes. So we have no great conversations. We like he's got his best friend. I've got my best friend. We have
in Robbie Brookside. You're talking about, right?
Of course.
Sweet
Yeah.
Robbie.
Right. So, but we get on very well. But I'm also a person who he trusts to tell him the truth.
Yeah.
And he has great trust in me. So, and he knows that, and that's what he wanted. When we started, he knows I'm never going to say yes if the answer's no. Mm-hmm. And everybody else knows that. And that's just one of my things. I'm not going to say yes if I think the answer's no. And if you're want to take over and do something different, I totally understood that decision, because you can't have somebody else come in when everybody there is still coming up to me and asking me what they should be doing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I completely understand.
It's like a conflict of interest that who you're supposed to be looking to for answers versus who you actually trust in looking to for answers, right. I guess.
And
if that's
that might not be the case at all, because I know it tells for a better story to think it's all about whatever people tell the story about. But if I was, I wouldn't, because I don't need to do that. But I don't need to. I don't think I'm anything anyway. I'm just me, and people seem to think I'm something, and they can't ask me stuff, right?
Could you really feel the changes starting to happen? I mean, as the
I mean, that was happening from last summer, and then the perfect storm, and then Paul got ill. I was all on board for the changes. I thought, right, I'm going to tell this, might as well tell this story now. How long have we got, Renee? Have we got a bit of time?
We have as much time as you want.
Okay, so I have a theory that everything peaked at Portland. We did Portland NXT in February of 2020, and we all came out after that night. It didn't matter what was going on else. Again, everybody's got a different story. I'd had an incredibly, really, really strange 2018. I've told that recently on Chris Jericho's, but no need to go into it. 2019, after the initial thing of, there's another show starting, it was, okay, well, let me make sure. If you want to all think about this, or you're trying to beat this, or you're trying to, I'm not. I'm trying to make the people that work with us make this the best thing I can. That's what I want to do. That there's 100 other people that will be thinking about what's going on somewhere else. It's just wasted headspace for me. I'm going to work on the people that work with us and try and help them get better. That's just me. That's another thing. I don't fit into a lot of people's ways of thinking, because I couldn't care less about what's going on elsewhere. I've been through so many supposed wrestling wars.
Yeah.
Honestly, it started when I was in Britain. There was things in Germany. There was definitely things in South Africa. At 23, the last time I went to South Africa, I was in the ring, and I won't mention the names to save that, because this is a pretty, and people think I'm telling stories, but this is not the case. This is stuff that I'd see. I'd been around a lot of life, right? A hell of a lot of life before I even came to America. At 23, I was in the ring, and a promoter that I'd worked for previously I didn't like him. But the first time I went, I just heard a commotion as I'm in the ring wrestling somebody, and I look behind the fans and I see him running, screaming, as the promoter I'm working for at that particular point is chasing him with a machete.
Oh my God.
Do you think when I came to America and I heard about these wrestling wars that I care one jot?
Sure.
It's just another day at work, and everybody else who wants to gossip, it's something for them to do. I'm just working for the company I'm working for. I'm going to do the best job I can, and I get on with it, right? That's just my mentality. Again, I don't live in a pack mentality world. Or yes, I'm going to be loyal to the people I'm working for, but all through the supposed Monday Night Wars, we would think I wasn't still friends with all my friends that were in WWE, and it's not about giving them information. No, because I work for this company. I work for them, so I'm staying with them. There's no issue between us. Everybody looks at it very differently. I don't. I'm of none of that. I'm just. I make my own mind up about everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you tell me about somebody. Until I meet them, I'll make my own mind up. I get on with people who hate each other. That's another thing that I can do. A lot of my friends who I get on with don't like each other, but I don't middle them, and I tell them, look, don't get me involved. As long as there's no reason for me to be, we just have a separate thing going on. And I'm not going to mix the two. It's just whatever it may be, right? And that's helped me a lot over the years, put things together, especially when there was a lot of deals going on. If you think about what we pulled off with like the Cruiserweight Classic and stuff, well, I can call people because I get on with people, and sometimes it's companies who don't like each other. I can usually middle that, or I was able to. Things have moved on now. In the last few years, things have changed, and there's new people come. But there was a time when I could do a lot of things that people couldn't, because I just don't get involved in all the politics and nonsense. I can't be doing with it. It's just not in my realm of. Okay, I get it, but I don't need to.
Too much to think about. It's too much like above my pay grade.
Yeah, and not even that. It's just it is what it is, right? But there's no reason for me to fall out with you. So I was there, and last summer we came out of Portland, and we were like, again, there was all this other stuff going on, but also in 2019 I was going to work, and I will say this just in case nobody out. I'm not saying nobody out, like as if people need to listen about me. That's got nothing to do with it. But I nearly died and had several serious major things happening in 2008, and it ran over into 2019. And then the first time I came back was actually I saw John. I came back for WrestleMania weekend of 2019, but I was doing I was going to work, trying to make that as good as possible. I was coming home and still trying to catch up on my health. Yeah. So I was somewhat leave that at work and just come home, and I just had major. January the 4th of 2019, I was given 24 hours to live, and they were going to cut my leg off because I had sepsis in it, right? And I managed to kick out of it. I'd been in hospital for 8 weeks, and I thought I was going to die. I got my family around me at Christmas that year. In 2018, because I thought, and I'd made peace with the fact that I was going to die, right? So when I came back in 2019, there was a lot more stuff going on. There was, AEW. I haven't got time for all that. I need to make NXT what it can. That's I work here. Let's do this, right? So going into 2020, I'm feeling better, but I still AEW is AEW. It's not. Where I work, I'm working for the WWE and I work for NXT, and we've got to try and make this work. because why everybody else is worrying about what everybody else is. I don't care. I want to help the crew here. That's my job, because that's what I'm getting paid to do. I'm not getting paid to help the crew at the other place, right? Although, funny as it sounds, I was helping a few of them because this, you know me. Well,
lo and behold.
No, not in a that kind of way, but still people would, and still people have always, like, because I know them. Oh, can you just watch this, or can you help me with this? And that's nothing separate to what I was doing.
Of course.
I'm not talking about, I don't want to know what's going on there. It's no interest to me.
So you were just focusing on wrestling. Wrestling was wrestling.
Yes, I'm looking after wrestling, right? I'm looking after being people that I know. So I'm doing everything I can there. Trying also, so coming in 2020, we do Portland, and it's as good as it can be. But we also know we've done 32 or 33 takeovers at that time, which is incredible to think about. People forget that, I think. That
is crazy.
There's never been a company in history who's done 36 straight shows that have been universally loved. Ever. Yeah. Not one. You tell me one, and there's never. ECW never did that. It's, it's nobody's ever put a row of shows together like that, right? And it became, after a while, where it became just taken for granted. But if you actually go back, and one day somebody will eventually, they'll go back and go, my God, they started off with in a short amount of time and doing these shows and then selling out the Barclays with an hour show.
It was really magical.
On a network. This wasn't on TV. This was an hour show off a network. And we were doing tours to Australia and tours to England and going to Japan with it off the network.
There was a real lightning in a bottle feeling with everything that was happening at NXT. It was really special.
But 2020, we go into Portland and we come out and all the top talent, there's a lot of us had they come to me. I don't know what was going on with Portland, Sean and everybody. I know what was, that fellas were coming up to me and going, like, we've done everything now. We've done this style, basically done this style to death. We've done everything, and there was people trying to figure out how can we change a bit of something, because it's going to be more of the same from now on. Once you know you've peaked and everything, we've done every single thing, and you've done it now, so there was a few little discussions like that going on, and I was starting to think, how can I don't know, because I'm not working at this pace, and I'm not working at this, but I'm part of it. So we were starting to think like that, and then COVID hit, and then it was, never mind that, let's just survive. Well, the first 5 months, they wouldn't let me go down there because I'd had this pericardectomy. Well, a pericardectomy is a very rare thing to have. Basically, to save you looking it up, anybody who doesn't know, your heart is contained inside a sac. Well, the sac around my heart got infected many years ago and then calcified and was crushing my heart, right? And it was a solid lump of like rock around my heart. So they had to cut me open, take away that rock. So my heart became normal, right? So it was beating normal. But there's no protection of the skin around my heart. It's never going to be there. And so they didn't know, because COVID was new to them. They didn't know if I got it, if this would just go directly to my heart. And so I had to sit at home and do everything on this. I was doing Zoom calls, I was doing whatever we were doing. So not to sit idle, we had a crew in the UK, which was actually really great, because 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, we were doing loads and loads of old British matches with the UK crew in different groups and we had 50 matches we did over 6 weeks that we broke down and look, if you can just take a little bit of that and make it a little bit different and keep a bit of it. So I kept myself busy, constantly busy in that 5 months. And then finally things started and then the doctor said, oh, it's okay for you to come down here. Then it was, okay, I'm not worried about it. I need to be the person who is here, making sure, keeping everybody's spirits up and taking care of everything else I have to take up. But there was a lot of people didn't know none of us knew, right? And I found that out later on, that it hit me a little bit. at the same time, I've got, you know, 2 family members that were not well, and I couldn't get back to England. And my dad's old, and he's, you know, I couldn't get back to England. Things that but I have to put that out in my head. And you know, my son's living over in England, and just, I don't know when I'm going to see him again. I've got life. We've all got life. So I'm not worried about what's going on elsewhere. I'm worried about my job at the time was to take care of NXT. So I'm going there, not only helping with what I normally do, which is bits of everything, but also doing a lot of that to people. Yeah, we'll be okay. We'll get through it. But you take on all that, you know, and it's not something that I would never, I'm always glad I did. You take on all their problems. You don't realize it, but if you're helping somebody, you can't just do it in 2 minutes. You can't just have a 2-minute chat. You have to sit and like listen and actually listen to people. And then I'm coming home, and I, unfortunately, like my incredible wife, who has to, she's sat there like probably not hearing or seeing much of me because I'm here, but I'm just like, oh.
You're bogged down with everything,
and I'm trying not to make her life like, because if I went listen to all this, she's got life to deal with, and the fact that she can't see her mom, and her auntie's passed away, and different things, and it's just, so it was survival mode. So when I heard last summer that we wanted a revamp, I'm like, great. And when I actually heard what Mr. McMahon wanted, I was all for that. It's because okay, I was looking at the coming out of, it's not obviously we're nowhere near out of it, but it was something. I don't make business decisions, and it's not even, I don't give it, I feel sad when people go, but it's not my business. It's not my business to worry about, to take care of feeding or to looking after crew. I just take care of the people close to me or I'm working with, right? So it was, well, we want to go back to trying to get in some great athletes, and that, great. Well, we've already got some. We just got Steiner and Bronson Steiner, and we got the Creed brothers, and we got Trick, and we got some good fellas, right, and some good ladies. We already had a great crew of ladies, you know. So it was like, okay, good. And what I'm not going to say what we're saying was, you know, I had no say over changing anything, but I like the vision of where we wanted to go. We wanted to take, because we'd done everything to death in NXT. And you know, and the last 2 years of COVID, with an incredible group of fellas, was, you know, Adam and the UE guys, and then Tommaso and Johnny and Fergal and all these people and all the ladies. We put putting shows on with no people, but we managed to keep a TV show running, right? And you know, that was a feat in itself to keep that going through that. So I was all for the fact of, we need some. Also, no, I did know that a lot of the younger independent talent were going to go to AEW, right? Because that was a different outlet for them, and so they and that's no different to me. I see everybody has a different way of looking at it. I didn't look at that as a bad thing. I looked at that as a good thing, because I would say to anybody that was already a wrestler, go and work loads of places. The more you work, the better you'll be for when you get here, so you can walk right into quickly get into a good spot than starting from down here. But when it comes to athletes, the PC is, at the end of the day, people see all these nonsense ideas about it. It's the biggest wrestling school in the world, and it is an incredible wrestling school. And I will say this, and it's not. I work for AEW now, and I'm work there, and my entire focus is on that. But I hear these. I don't get involved in the wrestling world, but there's enough people there that did, and I could just go up and ask. Right, I could just go, what is really going on? And one of the things I used to hear was, nobody knows what they're doing. The PC doesn't work. No, the PC works if you put your time in. If you come in there and you don't, you just turn up and do your class once a day and you go home, it's not going to work unless you are the one, the magic one that can just do everything. You have to put your time in. And I know this personally, sometimes the talent who are getting paid there, who aren't doing well, perhaps they need to look themselves in the mirror and realize instead of spending time on their phone, perhaps they should be in the rings trying to get better. Because I can tell you this from last November, I was in rings when there was myself, Hideki Suzuki, Tim Thatcher, and Danny Birch in an open ring, which means anybody can come and get in our ring. We were training with each other. We watched 2 classes. I watched this several times. 2 classes. You know, I wasn't a trainer there, but I still went and got in and trained with people. 2 classes. I'm watching them do their class, not really paying attention to the people in the ring or the trainer telling them anything. Get in the ring, do their 5 minutes, get out, walk straight to their phones, pick it up and walk out the building. And not one person come to our ring. And you've got 4 people that can, and so it's our fault, is it? It's our fault that you are not practicing, you're not going home and practicing your promos on your own time. You just do it when it's promo day. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere unless you are the one, right? Unless you are the one. So there's a lot of things that I thought need a kick up the backside here because people are not paying attention